Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet fly and wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? The debt was demanded, the price it was paid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets break clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
There is no one coming to our rescue if things go sideways. No one will be resupplying us. No one will airdrop food, ammunition, or medicine. There is no place to escape to find freedom. This is it. This is the United States of America. Welcome to the Medlock Post Radio Show. This is your host, Richard G. Medlock. This is the all-American program where we educate, entertain, enlighten, and empower. This is where we stand for the red, white, and blue. This program is brought to you by the United States Constitution. And this is where we fight justice and the American way. We, the people, are one nation under God. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We've made it to May. Yes, April showers, May flowers. We had a lot of rain in April, at least in our area. So, and of course, in the South, we've been blooming for a long time. And the May 1st, a few things going on. But this is episode 142, titled, This is the U.S.A. This is the U.S.A. There's nobody like us out there, folks. But there are people that want to destroy us. The views and opinions on the Medlock Post radio show are the views and opinions of the host. They are not necessarily the views and opinions of Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker.com, its corporations, affiliates, or any other podcast streaming services. All right, ladies and gentlemen, May is Military Appreciation Month. That's why I played that version of the Star-Spangled Banner. The debt was demanded, the price was paid. And that price was paid by the military of the United States of America. Many have laid down their lives to protect our freedom and our Constitution and the American way. And so this month, when you see somebody in uniform or has a cap on that says Vietnam or something like that, thank them for what they did for this country. Do not hesitate. Just go up and say, thank you for your service. They will appreciate it. We are truly blessed to have an extraordinary military that protects us all day, every day. And we need to give thanks for them every day on our knees. Speaking of military, on April 30th, 1789, George Washington was inaugurated the first president of the United States. You know, George Washington slept here. There's all those places that he slept here, and he might have. So George Washington, first inauguration of the first president. He served 2 terms. He didn't want to. But they said, no, serve again, and go from there. Also, on May 1st, 1931, the Empire State Building opens during the Great Depression. Now, what is so significant about that? Think back 90 plus years. Think back at the resources, the equipment. Think back, no computers. No computers. The drafting, the architects use slide rules. I grew up learning through college with slide rules. That's what we used to do math. Well, the Empire State Building, the Boulder Dam, and on, these great structures. The Golden Gate Bridge were built with slide rules, no computers. The people that were working needed to understand math, angles, and all sorts of things to be able to build it right. In 1930 and 31, the Empire State Building was built in 410 days. 410 days. Try to build a 102-story structure today in 410 days. You can't do it. And there's one simple reason. Unions. They limit you what you can do every day. In today's America, it takes you 410 days to get all the permits, or longer. Some factories that people try to build, it takes them up to 5 years to get all the permits. Now, that's ridiculous. But anyway, this was built, the height of the Depression, 410 days. What was it, 10 million bricks? And the numbers are astronomical. Look up the stories. Announcement. There is a change to the Medlock Post blog. That's medlockpost.blogspot.com. That's BLOGSPOT. That's the Google blog. Started yesterday, and I used to do this in the past, and I had over 300,000 followers a month. I'm not going to get into, I stopped doing it. And anyway, and I think 2017, 18, I stopped doing it. I'm going back to that. I've been posting the shows on there and some other pertinent things, but now it will become a news blog. I will post articles on there that you need to know. Good articles, good news sources that you need to know what's going on. Just between yesterday and this morning, I put one up this morning about Dr. Fauci. Before I could, I clicked to post it, and I went back over to the other page. It had 11 viewers in just boom, like 10 seconds. So it probably won't take me long to build back to 300,000 or more followers a month. That was a month. Going back to Friday's episode of capitalism versus totalitarianism, here's what Margaret Thatcher had to say about some of this. Most people should know by now that unless you pursue the policies of wealth creation, you will not, in fact, get the improvement of social services that you desire. Just because you speak softly and talk more about welfare and social services doesn't mean that you do more for them. She hit the nail on the head. They do a lot of talk, and they give away a lot of stuff, and that's about it. And then, again, she says, we want a society where people are free to make choices, to make mistakes, to be generous and compassionate. This is what we mean by a moral society, not a society where the state is responsible for everything and no one is responsible for the state. Capitalism, freedom. And oh, by the way, Ayn Rand has a comment about capitalism. Matter of fact, she has bunches of comments about capitalism. She says, man's surviving requires that those who think be free of the interference of those who don't. That's why we want Washington out of the way. They don't think. They just act. They're run on emotions now. Total emotions. Ladies and gentlemen, I kept thinking about this over the weekend. I made a decision Saturday to go back to the quote that I read by William Wolfe at the end of the program Friday. And this is it. In biblical terms, wokeness is the modern version of King Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue in Daniel 3 in the Old Testament. It is the idol of our present day, and just about all of the powers that be, media, college, corporations, and government, are demanding that we bow to it. As Christians, we must refuse to bow to the idol of wokeness. We must, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, speak the truth about God and reality. Now, this doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or a Buddhist or a Muslim or Jewish or whatever. You do not bow to this false god. You don't do it. Remember, God said, thou shalt have no other gods before me. First commandment. go back and look at really what was going on in Daniel 3 with Nebuchadnezzar. Now, he created a golden image, and he commanded that all men and women are to worship it. Well, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I'm sorry, I hit my microphone, refuse and are cast into the fiery furnace. They are preserved and come out unharmed. Okay, that's the short story, right? All right, so let's go back. Let's kind of go through this and get into some of the details. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, a ruler, not elected, made an image of God of gold, whose height was 80 cubits. Cubits, I think, is 8 feet. And the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Now, a lot of times when we refer to Babylon, we refer to evil or bad things. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes and governors and captains and everybody else, all the rulers of the provinces, gathered together unto the dedication of the image that the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whoso falleth not down and worship it shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace." Now it's interesting that Nebuchadnezzar built a statue of gold. It doesn't say if it was of himself, and maybe it was. Creates a golden image. Well, maybe it was of himself. So now here's this image of a man who has claimed kingship. Says you bow or burn. Bow or burn. That's kind of simple to understand, right? And the decree goes on. Therefore, at that time, people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music. All the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore, at that time, certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound shall bow. Well, guess what? We're telling on these guys over here that in the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Nebuchadnezzar was furious, and he commanded those 3 people be bound up, were brought before him. And he says, then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, all this stuff, music. Ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of mine hands? So he puts kind of a challenge to God, doesn't he? Who is this God that you think will save you? You don't mock God. So, where is my place? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O God. But if not, be it known unto thee, O God, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So they said, we're not doing it. If our God save us, that's a blessing. If not, we're still not going to serve your false gods. Now, do you have a picture? Have you created that in your mind as you listen to what's happening in the world today with either wokeness or money or wealth or whatever it is, that becomes people's God? That the government wants you to bow, as King Nebuchadnezzar did, to that golden image and to his gods instead of the true God. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, we will have no part in your falseness. Are we saying the same thing today? Are we standing up to this falseness, this evil that is being presented to us as the only way to go? These are the similarities that we're looking at in Daniel 3 and wokeness today that William Wolfe talked about. And guess what? These three stood up to the king, and his fury just went out through the roof. And the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it has wont to be heated. Heat it up as high as you can get it. These people are going to pay. No God can save them in that heat. Their God doesn't exist. They were bound in their coats, their hosen, their hats, and other outer garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And it was so hot, some of the people carrying them in there died of the heat. Not the flames, the heat. And what happened, folks? These 3 men fell down, bound into the midst of the burning furnace. The Nebuchadnezzar the king was astounded, and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have not hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then they came out. They walked out of that fiery furnace, heated to 7 times normal what they do. And everybody there gathered around saw these men upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed onto them. Right? Anytime you're around a fire, you ever been around a campfire? You smell like smoke. Your clothes, everything else. Or anything else, any other type of fire. You cook in the stove, you get that smell on you. It's a good smell. Not even the smell of smoke were on these three faithful men. This is a great miracle and a great lesson to learn here about what's going on in the world right now. Now, we're not through with Daniel 3 because this is about standing up and being strong in your faith, not to fall into the falsehoods of the world, these philosophies of men that pull people astray and blind them to the truth. And that's what's happened with wokeness and indoctrination in the schools and corporations and elsewhere. But good comes from this. Now here's what came out of this. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake, and he said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who hath sent his angels and delivered his servants that trusted in him. They trusted, they had faith in their God, their true God. And he continued, and have changed the king's word, and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any god except their own God. And then he made a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. And then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the province of Babylon. When we stand up, this is not the only story in the scriptures about where a king or a ruler changed their minds when a miracle happened and changed orders, even to the point, no, we need to worship that God, not this image over here. That's why I wanted to come back to this. This is a great lesson in exercising faith and trust in the Lord and our God. They might not save us from a fiery furnace or a firing squad or something like that, but we exercised our faith and said we will face the consequences that you will give unto us, but we will not deny our God. We will not deny what we know to be true, what we have felt in our bosoms to be true. And we will take the consequences. If God saves us, so be it. If not, so be it. These are the times that we live in, ladies and gentlemen. These are the times. Let me read this poem by Jimmy Osborne. No, not the guy from Superman. That was Jimmy Olsen. This is Jimmy Osborne. Guess what the title is? Make a stand. Keep your wits about you and expect the unexpected. Speak for those who have no voice and protect the unprotected. We always have a choice to be the ones to make a stand, to step up and make some sense or some noise for the silent ones who can't? Will you fight for what is right? Be the light and take command? Or will you flee into the night and hide your head beneath the sand? And if there ever comes a time when I no longer can, I hope you'll fight for me and be the one to make a stand. Are you going to be the light? Or are you going to go hide in the sand? It's called courage. Courage in the face of the enemy, in the face of challenges. John F. Kennedy, on January 19th, 1961, gave us this. Today we need a nation of Minutemen, citizens who are not only prepared to take up arms, but citizens who regard the preservation of freedom as a basic purpose of their daily life and who are willing to consciously work and sacrifice for that freedom. The cause of liberty, the cause of America, cannot succeed with any lesser effort. John F. Kennedy. It takes work and sacrifice to maintain freedom, to sustain and support the Constitution, or anything else that is good and praiseworthy, as Paul talked about in the New Testament. Thomas Jefferson gave us this. None but an armed nation can dispense with a standing army. You understand that? If the people aren't armed, we can't have a standing army. And then he continues, to keep ours armed and disciplined is therefore at all times important, but especially so at a moment when rights, the most essential to our welfare, have been violated. Now, are we having rights essential to our welfare be violated today? I know all of you said yes. If any of you said no, we need to have a one-on-one conversation or a group conversation. Do you understand the rights given to you in the Constitution of the United States? Do you understand the inalienable rights that God has given to you as an individual human being? If not, let's have a conversation. We talk about them all the time. Let's see. Where did this come from? Somebody sent me this. I want to read this. The rules of winning the political game for power has been determined by Democrats since Ronald Reagan. That fact is affirmed when Trump was president. Just boy, was it. Although some of his policies were successful, keeping us out of stupid wars while rebuilding our military as a deterrent, trying to reasonably fix illegal immigration, passing tax cuts, and reducing regulations, energy independence, etc., the fact is that the Democrats tried to impeach him 3 times and delivered 1,000 slashes with a corrupt DOJ, CIA, FBI, and media. Democratic Marxists ignore the Constitution and Bill of Rights because they will not tolerate any obstacles to power. None. While the majority of Republicans want to play nice, like Romney and other disgraceful and worthless GOPs, it's sort of like the military where we have rules of engagement to avoid evil atrocities from occurring. Democrats have no rules of engagement. Winning the war for power and control is everything. Everything. Any tactic, any lie, any means to avert due process is fair play to the Democrat Marxists. And every Democrat Marxist better toe the line and be on the team or be slaughtered. It's a machine that will take no prisoners. Trump understood that. The only way Republicans have a chance to save this country is to totally adopt Trump's America First political philosophies and be willing to fight dirty, fight like Trump does, without traditional rules, because this is war and we may be in the final battle. But let me add this. We need to fight, but we need to maintain rule of law. We do not need to get into a street war where anything goes. The rule of law is number one. Maintain it and operate within it. That's what Trump was trying to do. His biggest enemy were the rhinos. They're the ones that kept stopping his work. Wasn't all Democrats. It was the rhinos. And we know who they're. A lot of them got elected out this last time. Not enough, especially in the Senate. Well, let's move to a little something that I think, a little wisdom, inspiration here. Of course, I hope the other things are inspirational. But we need to look at this. This is native spirit. The 7 sacred teachings, also known as the 7 grandfather teachings, are a set of teachings that have been passed down from generation to generation by First Nations people of North America, or Native Americans. These teachings are the guiding principles for living a meaningful and fulfilling life, and they are essential to maintaining a harmonious relationship between human beings, nature, and the divine. Now, as we go through these, you'll understand and see these. All of these are in Christianity. So these came from Native Americans. And I might add a couple to their 7. The 7 sacred teachings include 1, wisdom. Wisdom involves making wise choices that lead us on a path of positive growth and development. To attain wisdom, one must learn from experiences, seek knowledge from elders, and listen and learn from one's mistakes. Wisdom. Number 2, love. Emphasize the importance of unconditional love, compassion, and kindness towards ourselves and others. It teaches us to give love freely and unconditionally without any expectation of receiving love in return. And may I add to that, as part of love, is if we love others, we forgive others. We do away with grudges. So I've added that in a little bit. And didn't Christ command, love God and then love thy neighbor as thyself? Number 3, from the 7 sacred teachings, respect. Respect emphasizes the importance of treating oneself and others and nature with respect. Respect involves acknowledging the value and worth of all living things and treating each other with kindness, honor, and dignity. Kindness, honor, and dignity. Dignity is a key word there, in my opinion. Number 4, bravery. Bravery involves courage. We were just talking about that. Bravery involves courage, fortitude, and strength of character. Just talking about that, weren't we? In Daniel 3. Bravery inspires us to face our fears and overcome obstacles, to push ourselves to our limits, and to fight for what is right. Bravery. I will put these on the medlockpost.blogspot.com. I'll put these up on there. This is really, matter of fact, I think they're already up. Yeah, they are. I think they are. I'll take a look here in a second, because I never know. I can't keep track of myself. There's so much going on. Let's see. Let's take a look here. Yes, they are up. I put them up yesterday. Native Spirit. That's what it's titled. Native Spirit. Number 5 in our list of 7, honesty. Honesty emphasizes the importance of being truthful, trustworthy, and sincere in all our interactions with others. Honesty promotes trust, loyalty, and integrity, and it allows us to build meaningful and enduring relationships. Trustful, trustworthy, and sincere. Honesty promotes trust, loyalty, and integrity, which allows us to build meaningful and enduring relationships. Number 6, humility. Humility involves having a modest and unpretentious attitude towards life. Recognizing that we are all equal and we are all interconnected. Why? Because we are all sons of God, sons and daughters of God. Humility inspires us to serve others, to be compassionate toward those who are less fortunate, and to strive to make a positive impact on the world. Positive impact. Number 7, truth. Truth involves understanding and acknowledging the reality of our existence and our place in the world. It encourages us to seek knowledge, to be open-minded, and to question our assumptions and beliefs. Understanding and acknowledging our reality of our existence and our place in the world. The world does not revolve around us, an individual. Truth encourages us to seek knowledge, good knowledge, to seek the truth. Man is to discover the truth, not create truth. To be open-minded, to be able to have a discussion with someone that has opposite views. There's always something to learn there. And to question our assumptions and our beliefs. Now I'm going to add number 8. Faith. Faith is what gives us hope. Faith is what takes us to action in our beliefs. Faith is what takes us closer to the truth. and leads us to the truth. Faith in God and faith in truth. And faith in ourselves. Faith that we can do what's right. That we can come to a good conclusion. And I think let's add faith and prayer. Together with faith and prayer, praying to God for answers and help and understanding, we come to know truth. And we build our relationship with God. Each of these teachings are an inseparable whole and work together to create a holistic approach to mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual life. And it is centered around humility, respect, and love. And we find all of these talked about in the Bible. Matthew 5, 6, and 7, in the Beatitudes, all of these are discussed. Everything. Little inspiration and guidance there, ladies and gentlemen. I should take those things and go find the scriptures and put this up with the scriptures in the Bible that relate to these. That would be an interesting exercise. And there's so many things that we can do. Turn that down just another hair there. There's so many things that we can do to self-educate ourselves, to rise ourselves up, our knowledge, our increase, our faith, our courage. But we have to do it ourselves. Do it as a family. I know businesses. I've got friends in ownership in businesses or management, and once a week they get together and have a Bible study and discuss it. It has really, I've talked with them, and they said, you wouldn't believe how it's helped our business. Because we have more patience with our employees. We love them more. But anyway, and they rely on God for many, many things. From a poem by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the other undergrowth. Then took the other as far as just as far, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as far that the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads onto way. I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. I think we've connected a lot of dots here today, ladies and gentlemen. Which road are you going to travel today? What decisions and how are you going to make those decisions today? Are you going to stand as Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego and exercise your faith? Show your faith? Are we going to stand up for the U.S.A? Are we going to fight for the Constitution? We the people are one nation under God. Are you going to fight for truth, justice, and the American way? And that, folks, is the Medlock Post Radio Show for today, May 1st, 2023. May God bless America.